Welcome to Daily Stoic, where ancient Stoic wisdom is breathed into modern life. If you're seeking ways to master your emotions, free your mind from the pressures of life, and live peacefully amidst life's storms, you've come to the right place. Hit the subscribe button now to begin your journey of strengthening your spirit and discovering true freedom from within. Marcus Aurelius, the great emperor and philosopher, once said, "No one can harm you unless you allow it. You are only truly hurt the moment you believe you have been hurt." This is more than just a quote. It is the foundation of Stoic philosophy. In life, it's not the words or actions of others that harm you, but how you choose to react that determines everything. An insult by itself is a neutral event, neither good nor bad. It's your perception and the emotions you attach to it that create either suffering or inner peace. Marcus Aurelius also emphasized in his Meditations, "You always have the option to have no opinion." Sometimes the best thing you can do is let things pass without judgment or reaction, like a gentle breeze flowing by. Our emotions are not dictated by circumstances, but by how we perceive and choose to respond to them. Think about it. You can view personal failure as an unfair blow and drown in feelings of helplessness. Or you can choose to see it as a valuable opportunity for growth and strengthening your resilience. The difference lies entirely in how you harness your mental strength. The eternal principle from Marcus Aurelius shines like a guiding light. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Recognize this power, and you will find true peace. At Wank's Daily Stoic, we not only explore the profound lessons from Stoic philosophers, but we also help you transform them into powerful tools to master your life. If you love our content and want to support us, please hit like, share, subscribe, and ring the bell so you won't miss any new content. This will give us great motivation to continue creating more valuable videos, helping you and the community move closer to inner freedom and lasting happiness. Thank you for being with us. Lesson 1. Emotional Resilience, the subtle art of Stoicism. Why do emotions, which seem to be a natural and familiar part of our existence, so often end up controlling us more than we control them? The Stoic philosophers provided a profound answer. It's not the nature of emotions that causes turmoil, but how we perceive and judge them. Marcus Aurelius, the master of calm, once affirmed, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This foundational principle leads us down the path of developing emotional resilience through Stoicism, a unique ability to reshape how we respond to external events. According to Stoicism, emotions are not fixed or unchangeable. They are the product of subjective judgments. This means that we, through adjusting our perceptions, can take control of our emotions rather than letting them control us. The first step in mastering emotions is recognizing that our initial reaction is not the final verdict. It's merely an immediate, unprocessed response, and from that moment, we can choose a wiser reaction. Think about it. Have you ever reacted instantly without leaving space for reflection? It's in that pause, the quiet moment between the event and the reaction, where Stoic wisdom shines its light. That's where we can stop our initial impulses and act with reason, instead of being led by spontaneous reactions. Can you imagine facing life's challenges with a serene, undisturbed mind, like a calm lake before a gentle breeze? This is not some far-fetched ideal. It is a practical reality that you can cultivate by practicing Stoic philosophy every day. To achieve this, we need persistence and self-inquiry. What beliefs lie beneath our reactions? It is these silent, deeply ingrained beliefs and judgments that are the true source of all emotions. We can only begin to manage our emotions when we understand their deeper causes. So how are you dealing with negative emotions at the moment? One powerful method suggested by Stoicism is cognitive distancing, a technique that allows us to observe our emotions from an outsider's perspective. Imagine watching yourself go through an emotional storm, and from that perspective, the storm becomes less intense. Can you recall a time when a shift in perspective turned a difficult situation into an opportunity for growth? This is the essence of Stoic emotional resilience, transforming challenges into material for learning and growth. Every emotional experience, whether positive or negative, is a valuable lesson in self-awareness and self-improvement. And you can start building this control today with simple practices. One of the most effective methods is journaling, a practice that is powerful in its simplicity. Each day, write down the situations where your emotions became overwhelming and explore different ways to perceive those situations. Over time, this will help you gradually build a more rational and controlled response, and your ability to master your emotions will strengthen. The Stoics didn't just philosophize about emotional resilience as an abstract theory, they lived it every day. By integrating these practices into our daily lives, we too can begin to experience the stability and deep satisfaction that comes from mastering our emotions and making Stoic philosophy an essential part of who we are. Lesson 2. Cultivating a Stoic mindset to master anger. In the symphony of emotions, anger is often seen as the chief disruptor, the instrument that never harmonizes, always distorting the melody of the mind. Why is that? The Stoics believe that anger is not merely an emotional reaction, but one of the greatest barriers to wisdom. Seneca, one of the leading Stoic thinkers, described anger as a form of temporary madness, a fire that rages within the soul, driving us to actions we later regret. In moments of anger, reason is lost, and it is this very loss of reason that makes anger the most dangerous enemy of intellect. To cultivate a Stoic mindset in mastering anger, the first step is to understand its origins. Anger often arises from a sense of injustice, when the world doesn't meet our expectations. But here lies the key. The Stoics invite us to question the reasonableness of these expectations. Why do we expect the world to behave in a certain way, or justice to always unfold as we wish? Change begins when we adjust our expectations to align with the reality of human nature, imperfect and unpredictable, and the inherent uncertainty of life. By doing so, we reduce the frequency and intensity of anger. How can we apply these principles to the everyday frustrations we encounter? One subtle yet powerful technique offered by Stoicism is premeditation of evils. Imagining in advance the obstacles, challenges, and even misfortunes that might occur. This foresight doesn't provoke anxiety, but rather prepares us mentally to face adversity with calm and reason. When difficulties arise, instead of letting anger take over, we are already prepared and can respond with greater clarity and wisdom. Another technique the Stoics encourage in managing anger is to adopt the view from above. Imagine stepping outside of yourself, observing the situation from a distance, seeing the bigger picture, and recognizing the temporary nature of everything. This broader perspective helps dissolve the sense of personal offense and tempers the angry reaction, replacing it with calmness and insight. But when anger begins to rise, what practical actions can help us control it? Simple yet highly effective techniques include deep breathing, counting to 10, or even stepping away from the situation momentarily. These methods create a crucial buffer that prevents immediate action, allowing us to engage reason instead of being overwhelmed by emotional impulses. By practicing these techniques daily, we gradually build a strong defense against anger, a wall that not only protects our inner peace, but also strengthens our personal relationships. This proactive approach, when practiced consistently, not only reduces conflicts with others, but also fosters happiness and balance in life. Through persistence and practice, the Stoic mindset toward anger becomes ingrained in our character, transforming us into individuals who live with profound peace and a resilient heart, undisturbed by the inevitable turbulence of life. Lesson 3. Embracing Stoic flexibility to overcome fear. Why is fear, an emotion seemingly invisible, often the greatest enemy preventing us from living a full and meaningful life? For the Stoics, the answer lies deep in how we perceive the unknown and our human inability to face uncertainty. Fear is not merely the feeling of being threatened, it is the blurry veil of ambiguity and intangibility, where our minds become trapped in anxiety over things beyond our grasp. To effectively overcome fear, we must learn to be flexible, in the Stoic sense, adjusting our expectations and attitudes to align with the unpredictable reality of life. Fear often exaggerates everything, but when we pause and reflect, we realize that much of what we worry about is either not as frightening as we imagine or completely beyond our control. The onset of fear often accompanies a sense of threat to our safety, comfort, or stability, things that humans naturally strive to protect. However, the Stoic philosophers taught us that the most important lesson is to learn how to distinguish between what we can control and what we cannot. To reduce fear, we must relinquish our attempts to control the uncontrollable. Instead, we should focus on actions and attitudes within our power. When we achieve this, we no longer get swept away by the unpredictable waves of anxiety or fear of an uncertain future. Instead, our minds become calmer and clearer. How can we train ourselves to face the unpredictable nature of life? An effective Stoic method is to reflect regularly on the impermanence of everything. Life never stands still. It is a constant flow of change, and flexibility is the key to survival. By contemplating impermanence, we learn not only to accept that everything is temporary, but also to understand that we too can adapt and change along with it. This mental exercise helps us approach our fears with a proactive mindset, viewing change and uncertainty as natural and necessary parts of life, rather than things to be avoided. A practical way to embrace Stoic flexibility is to gradually expose ourselves to fear, not to challenge it blindly, but to familiarize ourselves with it, much like how an artist masters their tools. By confronting small fears daily, we gradually become more confident, stronger, and less overwhelmed by things beyond our control. So, what role does reflection play in overcoming fear? Reflect on the times you successfully managed or overcame your fears. Those moments are proof of your ability to handle future uncertainties. This self-reflection not only strengthens the belief that you can face challenges, but also builds a form of psychological resilience, grounded in personal experience and Stoic philosophy. As a result, when new challenges arise, you not only face them with courage, but also maintain a calm demeanor, welcoming everything with an open mind. By integrating these Stoic strategies into our daily lives, we gradually transform our relationship with fear. Instead of viewing it as a barrier, we turn fear into a signal to engage more deeply with Stoic practices, encouraging growth and strength. The remarkable thing is that through this transformation, not only does our own life improve, but we also become a living example of courage and tranquility for those around us. We do not just conquer our own fears, we help others see that, no matter the external circumstances, we can live strongly and peacefully when we understand where true strength comes from. Lesson 4. Mastering emotional reactions through Stoic acceptance. Why do our reactions to events often seem to escalate emotional turmoil rather than reduce it? Stoicism reveals a profound truth. It's not the events themselves that confuse or distress us, but rather how we choose to react to them. An event in itself is merely an objective occurrence. It is our mind's tendency to magnify, judge, and label it that creates emotional chaos. To master these reactions, we must cultivate Stoic acceptance. The ability to embrace whatever happens as part of the rational order of the universe, and most importantly, to recognize that we always have the power to choose how we respond. Once we understand this, we begin to minimize emotional suffering. Acceptance in the Stoic sense does not mean passivity or surrendering to circumstances. It is the recognition that many things we react to are beyond our control. When we shift our energy from trying to control the uncontrollable to focusing on what we can actually control, our thoughts, perceptions, and actions, we begin to feel empowered. This shift from placing excessive focus on the external world to finding inner stability is the key to maintaining emotional peace and resilience. This is also a core principle of Stoic philosophy. So how can we practice Stoic acceptance in our daily lives? One effective method is daily reflection. Taking a quiet moment each evening to review how we responded to the day's events. This habit, like gazing into a mirror for the soul, helps us recognize patterns in our reactions, providing insight into how we can adjust for the next time. Stoic philosophers like Epictetus emphasize the importance of distinguishing between what is within our control and what is beyond it. Practicing this distinction is not just theoretical, it's a practical skill. By repeating it during calm moments, we equip ourselves to apply it more effectively when faced with emotional challenges. What specific strategies can help when we encounter emotionally charged situations? First, take for about a moment to pause before reacting. This pause not only gives us time to regain balance, but also prevents immediate impulses from dictating our decisions. Combined with deep breathing, we can calm the body and mind, reducing physiological stress and creating space for rational thinking. A helpful question to ask in such moments is, what would a Stoic philosopher do in this situation? This question not only helps us regain composure, but also offers a more objective perspective, allowing us to see the situation more clearly. These strategies create a valuable buffer between stimulus and reaction, allowing us to approach emotional events thoughtfully rather than being swept away by emotional currents. As we integrate these practices into our daily lives, we gradually find ourselves mastering our reactions rather than being controlled by them. Over time, Stoic acceptance becomes not just a practice, but a way of life, helping us become more resilient to the ups and downs of existence. This transformation is at the heart of emotional mastery. Through Stoicism, it not only brings inner peace, but also equips us with the tools to navigate life with serenity and composure. Once we reach this state, we live with a sense of inner freedom and possess the ability to face life's challenges with calmness and balance, something only those who have truly mastered themselves can fully comprehend. Lesson 5. The Stoic Path to Overcoming Envy, a Journey Toward Inner Freedom. Why does envy have such a powerful hold on our minds, draining our emotional energy? In a world constantly flooded with comparisons, envy lurks in the shadows of our minds, making us feel inadequate, discontent, and inferior when we compare our lives to others. Envy tempts us to focus on what others have, while we overlook the beauty and value within ourselves. Stoicism warns that by fixating on external comparisons, we not only weaken our personal virtues but also lose the inner peace that Stoic philosophy holds as the core of happiness. Envy is not just the feeling of jealousy toward others' success. It is the binding of the soul in an endless cycle of dissatisfaction. To break free from these chains, the Stoics advise us to shift our energy away from meaningless comparisons and focus on self-improvement. True contentment is not found in measuring our success against others, but in recognizing our own progress on our unique path. Independent of others' judgments, we are the only standard by which to measure our personal growth. Stoicism emphasizes that the only things we can truly control are our thoughts, actions, and reactions. Transforming the energy of envy into personal growth is the key to liberating the soul from feelings of lack and inferiority. By focusing on the unique path we are on and appreciating every small step of progress, we build a strong foundation for genuine satisfaction, one that never depends on the success or failure of others. So how can we apply these Stoic principles in daily life to overcome envy? A powerful and effective strategy is to practice gratitude. Regularly reflect on what you already have, rather than what others possess that you do not. When we focus on the abundance in our own lives, on what has nourished and enriched our souls, envy gradually loses its grip. Not only does practicing gratitude diminish envy, but it also lays the foundation for lasting contentment, bringing us closer to a state of true fulfillment. Additionally, another Stoic method to manage envy is to reflect on the impermanence of wealth and status. Stoic philosophers remind us that wealth, fame, and material possessions are fleeting. They come and go with ease. They do not bring lasting happiness. Understanding the transient nature of these things helps diminish the power envy holds over us and redirects our pursuits toward more enduring goals. Values that cannot be bought with material wealth, such as virtue, wisdom, and inner peace. Self-awareness is the key to overcoming envy. When we become aware of the triggers that spark envy, we can confront them with reason. When envy begins to arise, ask yourself, is this emotion truly necessary or beneficial? Stoicism encourages us to use reason to analyze our emotions and question their validity. This process helps diminish the impact of envy and strengthens emotional resilience, turning negative feelings into opportunities for inner growth. As we integrate Stoic practices into our emotional lives, envy gradually loses its power. Instead of being pulled into rivalry, we can cultivate a life of gratitude and contentment. A life where happiness is not dependent on the success or failure of others, but on our own progress and development. This not only improves our mental well-being, but also fosters deeper relationships. When we replace envy with genuine joy for others' success, we free ourselves from the burden of envy and create an atmosphere of authentic support and happiness in our relationships. The Stoic path teaches that true joy comes from within, from being content with oneself and never allowing it to be influenced by the fortunes or success of others. Only when we stop comparing ourselves to the outside world can we experience true freedom, the freedom of the mind, inner peace, and lasting happiness. Lesson 6. Stoic strategies for cultivating patience. Wisdom in the flow of time. Why has patience, a virtue so noble and necessary, become so difficult to cultivate in the modern world, where everything moves so quickly? The Stoic philosophers identified the root of this issue centuries ago. They believed that impatience stems from unrealistic expectations about the world around us and the illusion that we can control everything in life. When we believe that we can pull the strings of life, we are easily disappointed when things don't go as planned. Patience, according to the Stoics, is not merely a virtue but a sign of deep wisdom and understanding of the nature of reality. It is the realization that the world does not operate according to our personal will, but follows a natural flow in which each individual plays a small role. When we begin to embrace this perspective, we ease our frustrations and instead develop a more harmonious relationship with time and the unfolding of events. But how can we practice Stoic patience in our daily interactions? One effective method is to deliberately slow down our reactions. Instead of reacting immediately, especially in stressful situations, take a moment to pause, breathe, and reflect on the bigger picture. Anger or impulsiveness is merely an initial response, but when we take time to consider, we often realize that most situations do not truly threaten our well-being. Pausing not only allows space for reason to operate, but also helps us to enact an essential Stoic lesson: acceptance. Understanding that there are factors in life beyond our control frees us from feelings of frustration and resentment. Another practical strategy to cultivate patience is to regularly meditate on the impermanence of life's troubles. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king, often reminded himself that everything is fleeting and that the challenges we face today will become faint memories tomorrow. By reflecting on the transient nature of difficulties, we can recognize that many issues are not as significant as they seem in the present moment. This not only helps to calm immediate emotions, but also fosters a broader perspective, freeing us from the constraints of the present and allowing us to see the temporary nature of all problems. However, patience is not just about managing our own emotions. It is also deeply connected to empathy. By making an effort to understand the perspectives and challenges others are facing, we broaden our capacity for patience. Just as we face our own personal struggles, so do others, often in ways we may not fully grasp. When we realize that not everything revolves around our desires or theirs, empathy becomes the bridge that helps us extend patience toward those around us. This understanding transforms patience from being merely a personal skill to becoming an ethical foundation in how we relate to others. It helps build a world where people support one another with deep harmony and empathy, rather than rushing to judge or criticize. By incorporating these Stoic strategies into our daily habits, we gradually experience positive changes in how we approach challenges that require patience. The practice of patience not only enhances our relationships with others, but also brings tranquility to our minds, shielding us from the turbulent waves of life's anxieties. As we cultivate patience, we move closer to a sense of harmony within ourselves and with the world around us. Ultimately, with the Stoic ideals that continually encourage us toward a life of virtue and serenity, practicing patience is not merely a personal virtue, but a clear expression of deep understanding of human nature. When we learn to accept what we cannot control and adjust ourselves to the flow of time, we not only attain patience, but also reach a state of inner peace. And it is in this state that we truly experience freedom, a freedom not from controlling the world, but from understanding and accepting our place within it. Lesson 7. Stoic courage in adversity, a journey beyond self-limitation. Is courage simply about facing physical challenges, confronting visible threats, or is it something deeper? Stoic philosophy, in its profound wisdom, reveals that true courage extends far beyond external confrontations. At its core, it is an inner battle, a silent yet fierce struggle against fear, doubt, and even despair. It is these invisible battles, not the obvious outward conflicts, that truly test a person's strength. Stoic courage, first and foremost, is the deep understanding that some things are worthy of fear while others are not. Guided by reason and wisdom, this courage is not a careless disregard for danger, but rather the bravery to embrace hardship and uncertainty for the sake of higher goals, virtue, and personal growth. Stoic courage is not just about overcoming fear. It is the ability to maintain moral integrity and life's purpose despite external circumstances. It's not about eliminating fear, but mastering it, ensuring that it doesn't prevent us from acting in line with our core principles and values. This courage coexists with mental freedom, a freedom not from the absence of fear, but from the power to control it. The challenges life brings are temporary, but the steady courage we build, rooted in self-awareness and the recognition of the universe's transience, is enduring. How can we apply Stoic courage to everyday challenges? Start with small daily fears, those seemingly trivial battles that serve as fertile ground to sow the seeds of resilience. Face the fear of rejection, the fear of being judged in a meeting, or resolve personal conflicts you've been avoiding. These small acts, these slow but steady steps, gradually build the foundation for greater battles to come. Courage does not spring from grand challenges, but is cultivated through minor efforts and the consistent choice not to yield to everyday difficulties. In doing so, we develop a habit, a powerful way of life where each action becomes an expression of courage, enhancing both our character and resilience. A crucial element in developing courage is to reflect on past experiences. Look back on moments when you stood firm, demonstrated bravery, or simply endured hardship. These moments are invaluable resources, reinforcing our confidence. The times when we overcame fear or endured adversity are living proof of our ability to face the future. Reflecting on these experiences not only reminds us of what we have already achieved, but also paves the way for continued courage in future challenges. The past becomes a testament to our capacity to overcome obstacles. What role does community play in strengthening courage? Stoic philosophers have long emphasized that courage is not merely a personal virtue, but a communal one. When we find support and empathy from those who share our values, our courage is reinforced. We no longer fight fear and adversity alone. The bond of community creates a space where we can stand firm on the foundation of our beliefs and actions, feeling the strength of solidarity. Together, challenges become less intimidating. They transform into opportunities to demonstrate and share courage. By applying Stoic principles to our daily lives, we approach challenges with a balanced perspective. Rather than viewing adversity as dark threats, we begin to see them as opportunities for growth and for deepening our courage. This shift in mindset from fearing adversity to embracing it as a chance for personal growth is the essence of Stoic courage. It transforms how we interact with the world, turning every challenge into a step forward on the path of self-development. With Stoic courage, we not only overcome adversity but also become masters of our destiny, confidently walking the path of virtue and resilient will. The world around us may constantly change, but the courage we have cultivated and sharpened will always help us stand strong, no matter what storms lie ahead. Lesson 8. The Stoic path to cultivating contentment, serenity, and simplicity. Why is it that despite the abundance of material wealth and modern technology, people still struggle to find contentment? According to Stoic philosophy, the root cause lies in the misalignment of our desires and unrealistic expectations of happiness. We often confuse what we want with what we truly need, and this mistake drives us to chase after things beyond our reach, causing us to miss the joy that is already within our grasp. For the Stoics, contentment does not come from accumulating more possessions or power, but from recognizing the value of what we already have, our inner qualities, virtues, and the peace of the soul. The Stoics encourage us to step away from ostentation, endless ambition, and to seek simplicity in life. Contentment, in the Stoic view, is not about seeking more, but about finding enough in the present moment. This requires regular self-reflection to distinguish between needs and wants, and to recognize that gratitude is the key that opens the door to true contentment. When we practice gratitude, our focus shifts from what we lack to what we have. Abundance thinking. As the Stoics teach, is not about having more than others, but about appreciating and being satisfied with what we already hold. How can we truly embrace Stoic contentment in our daily lives? A fundamental but effective practice is daily meditation, focusing on the impermanence of external things and the lasting value of virtue. Through meditation, we gradually detach ourselves from fleeting pleasures and short-lived successes and begin to invest more deeply in personal and spiritual growth. Meditation not only helps us see the temporary nature of all things, but also guides us toward detachment from the trivial, allowing us to see the true path to contentment, the path of inner development. Another practical step toward nurturing contentment is to limit exposure to triggers of desire and comparison, such as social media, advertisements, or competitive environments. In today's age, comparison is unavoidable, and with every comparison, we often feel lacking and discontent. By setting clear boundaries and shielding our minds from these negative influences, we can focus on the values that truly matter to us, and in doing so, develop genuine contentment, a contentment that is unaffected by external pressures and arises from within. This kind of contentment reflects the Stoic ideal of controlling what lies within our power, our attention, our attitude, and how we react to the world. By focusing on what we can change, ourselves, we free our minds from the invisible pressures of society, from the unreasonable demands of greed and ambition. Life becomes simpler and lighter as we clear away unnecessary distractions and realign our daily routines with our core values. In this way, we create space to appreciate the simple joys we often overlook. It is important to remember that Stoic contentment is not passive acceptance. It is not about giving up on life or ceasing to strive. Rather, it is an active choice to live a life of simplicity and virtue, a life shaped by gratitude and clarity of mind. By controlling what is within our power and letting go of what we cannot control, we not only achieve contentment, but also build a sustainable and fulfilling life, resilient to external pressures. Contentment in Stoicism is a long journey, but it is also an awakening to the fact that life is not a race to acquire the most, but a quest for balance between what we need and what we have. As we walk this path, contentment is no longer a distant goal, but becomes an internal state of tranquility, of gratitude for the simplest things in life, things we often take for granted. By pursuing these principles, we embrace the Stoic ideal of a fulfilled life, a life nourished by self-discipline, inner peace, and the deep understanding that true happiness comes from simplicity, from knowing when to pause and appreciate what we already have. Lesson 9. Stoic adaptability, the art of living in the flow of change. Why is adaptability considered one of the most important virtues in Stoic philosophy? Because the Stoics recognize that change is the only constant in life. From the flow of time to the smallest events in our daily lives, everything is in a state of flux. Resisting this natural law is not only futile, but also a source of unnecessary suffering. Stoicism teaches that to live in harmony with nature, we must develop the ability to adapt, the capacity to respond to change with calmness and wisdom. This virtue enables us to remain resilient and steady in the face of uncertainty, free from needless worry. Adaptability, in the Stoic sense, is the ability to adjust our expectations and actions when circumstances change. It is the flexibility to approach challenges with a balanced mindset. This requires a deep understanding that our control is limited to our own mind, actions, and attitudes, factors within our grasp, rather than the external events that unfold. When we shift our focus from trying to control the uncontrollable to adjusting ourselves, we conserve mental energy and maintain inner peace. Instead of wasting effort resisting the inevitable, we learn to adapt and accept. How can we cultivate Stoic adaptability in everyday life? First, regularly remind yourself of the impermanence of all things. Success and failure, joy and sorrow, are all fleeting moments. Recognizing that all conditions in life, whether good or bad or temporary, prepares us mentally for change when it arrives. Rather than clinging to any one state, we learn to let go with serenity, making adaptability more natural. By embracing the temporary nature of everything, we no longer fear change but welcome it as an inevitable part of life. Another effective strategy for developing adaptability is to practice scenario planning, which involves envisioning possible outcomes and preparing responses for each. This is not about predicting the future, but about reducing anxiety over the unknown and equipping yourself with the flexibility needed to handle unexpected events. It's a practical demonstration of the Stoic principle of focusing only on what you can control. With a contingency plan in place, your mind remains calm and ready to face any changes without panic or worry. What role does detachment play in enhancing adaptability? In Stoic philosophy, detachment does not mean indifference or coldness toward life, but rather a way to prevent ourselves from being bound to specific outcomes. When we do not tie our happiness or self-worth to external results, we can maintain balance and adapt more easily. Detachment is not the absence of emotion, but a method of preventing ourselves from becoming overly dependent on outcomes, allowing us to remain flexible in our approach to life. This freedom enables us to accept whatever happens and act wisely without being ruled by anxiety or unrealistic expectations. Embracing these Stoic practices makes us stronger and better equipped to navigate change with confidence and resilience. Stoic adaptability is not passive acceptance or resignation, but an active engagement with the flow of life. By living in accordance with our core values and accepting that life is constantly changing, we can reduce stress and anxiety while increasing effectiveness in both work and personal relationships. Adaptability, according to Stoic philosophy, is not a sign of weakness in the face of challenges, but a reflection of inner strength. It is the ability to clearly recognize our own limitations, focus on what can be changed, and let go of what is beyond our control. When we strike a balance between acceptance and adaptability, we not only overcome adversity more easily, but also live a life of peace, wisdom, and self-mastery. Lesson 10. Stoic practice of self-mastery, the journey to inner freedom. Why is self-mastery considered the pinnacle of Stoic philosophy? Because in the Stoic view, true strength does not lie in controlling the external world, but in mastering oneself. The Stoic philosophers believe that humans achieve true freedom when they gain control over their desires, regulate their impulses, and align their actions with reason and virtue. Self-mastery is not simply about suppressing emotions or denying desires. It is about harmonizing all thoughts and actions with reason, striving to live according to moral principles, unshaken by external influences or fleeting temptations. The highest form of freedom is not escaping material constraints or the world around us, but the ability to control oneself, to live in accordance with one's rational and virtuous nature. In Stoic philosophy, lack of self-control is not just an immediate reaction to events, but a manifestation of a deeper loss of freedom when the mind is swayed by external factors. Mastery over oneself is the first step toward liberation from obsessions and impulses, allowing one to live with serenity, unaffected by external circumstances or desires. How can we practice self-mastery daily? One essential method is to set daily intentions. Every morning, remind yourself of the virtues you wish to practice: patience, tolerance, generosity, discipline. Each day presents an opportunity to cultivate these qualities, bit by bit, without haste but with consistency. It is these small but meaningful actions that over time build up our strength and self-control. Just as a musician cannot become a virtuoso without regular practice, self-mastery requires constant training, starting with the small but decisive actions of daily life. An essential aspect of developing self-mastery is the Stoic practice of enduring discomfort and hardship. It is no coincidence that Stoic philosophers emphasize the importance of occasionally foregoing pleasures and embracing discomfort. When we choose to live in less than ideal conditions, not relying on convenience or comfort, we are training ourselves to be resilient and self-sufficient in the face of difficult circumstances. This not only helps us maintain calm when facing real challenges, but also teaches us to reduce our dependence on external conditions. Serenity, then, no longer relies on the material world or temporary factors, but emerges from inner confidence and stability. What role does reflection play in self-mastery? Reflection, examining our actions and decisions daily, is the tool that helps us better understand ourselves. Writing in a journal, meditating, or engaging in thoughtful discussions with like-minded individuals can help us review what we have done and decided, allowing us to identify behavioral patterns that may not align with our values and ideals. Each day is a journey of self-discovery, and self-reflection not only helps us learn from experience, but also motivates us to continue adjusting and improving ourselves. Reflection is not just about self-examination. It is a process of shaping the self, enabling us to grow continually. These moments of introspection offer us the chance to make conscious changes, allowing our lives to increasingly reflect the philosophical beliefs and ideals we hold. Self-mastery is not something fixed. It is the result of a long process of training and self-understanding. As we integrate these Stoic strategies into our daily lives, we not only pave the way toward self-mastery, but also spread that strength to those around us. Self-mastery is not about achieving perfection, but about a constant commitment to effort and self-improvement each day. It is a journey without an endpoint, but the further we travel, the deeper we feel a profound peace within and the satisfaction of living in harmony with our true nature. Ultimately, mastering oneself in the spirit of Stoicism is not merely about controlling emotions, but about liberating oneself from the invisible pressures of the external world. When you can master your desires, control your impulses, and govern your thoughts, you reach a state of true freedom, a freedom no longer swayed by external circumstances, but arising from a deep harmony between reason and virtue. This is the perfect embodiment of the Stoic ideal, living in harmony with yourself, attaining serenity, fulfillment, and inner freedom. If you are seeking freedom from within and striving for a life of peace, hit subscribe, like, share, and ring the bell so you never miss out on profound Stoic lessons from Daily Stoic. Begin your journey to self-liberation today